with the let me with the MDI stuff is if we take a standardized MDI server, and do that, it's already booked for a server. It's its own server, it's its own thing, it's its own, no add-ons allowed. WoW default UI only. There's no reason basically not to have that. Okay, so in the server, okay, you're no longer going to have in the server that you would make, and might even be a seasonal server. Okay, and that's just how it runs. Okay, you're allowed one character, whatever that may be, whatever the rules may be. But I think there needs to be, there shouldn't necessarily be a rule of for the MDI part of it, but definitely probably raid, to where you're limited to one character for a certain duration of time, whether it be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe, and maybe you're just locked. Your account is locked to one raid per, like, not one like per character, but one raid, for the first month. I don't see that being a problem. I don't see, most people do that anyway, I think. But also what this does is, because you're on your own server, you created one character. You're not using a character you used before. You're not using anything like before. You don't have any items that you had before, or maybe the items just go away completely. There's no nostalgia here. Okay, there's just rating in the content. Okay, the nostalgia stuff happens on your other account, on the steroid account, basically, because that's how WoW has always been. And so you have like a more of a short-term seasonal account with the default UI, because that's kind of what it is. And then you have kind of a long-term steroid anything goes with add-ons account that has stand the course of time. Okay. And I think that really fits. I think it's very, very nice. But we see like Dorki's expulsion and from MDI, because he was using illegal pots from a previous, initially it was from a previous character that they found out that you can actually craft those things accordingly as well. So, but that, it doesn't. The thing is, if you did these seasonal things, servers, and you just brought them up, and everybody had one character that they brought through, you necessarily wouldn't have this with default UI. You wouldn't have these issues. You really wouldn't, and you wouldn't have to worry about previous expansion or something like that. That they're going to be exactly what they were. They're going to be, they're going to be just standalone, one character, and you get, and you get what they give you, right there, and then you run the content. And then you either clear the content or you don't. And it's just normal World of Warcraft, normal loot things. Of course, at the highest levels, they're going to do Master Looter. So, and they're going to divvy up the loot however they want. It doesn't matter. They can run, you can run Mythic Plus as much as you want. You can do, same rules apply for that. The raid wants, but it's going to be default UI, but one character, basically. So you completely limit these, because the thing is to come up with these new strategies or things like this. Well, new strategy doesn't mean to push the envelope on not having an even playing field. Why don't you just give them a list? Why don't you just give them a list of what they can and can't do? That would solve all these issues. Oh, that's not cool. That takes the wow factor out. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because now you're limiting. It only takes the wow factor is because they're unlimited in every way else. They're so cracked out on steroided out on add-ons and getting so much information the average viewer doesn't even know how to get. you know, and a new player is completely lost by. Okay, they're so cracked up with that information and so overloaded with information dealing with that, that actually going over there and getting having the information that this used to be a thing 2 expansions ago, and I'm going to go over there and grab these because I think it's okay, and I want to try it and do that. That one, I understand the whole scenario. I understand the situation where it was a hearsay thing of where you told Group A that they couldn't do it, and then Group B did it, but you didn't announce that. It's like, it is the simplest management thing in the world. If you were a manager, and if you were an employee, and your manager did that, if they went over and told coworker A, and then you did the same thing, should coworker B be punished because you told coworker A and it wasn't announced to the group that it happened? No. You shouldn't. Like, it just makes sense. However, if you just had a list of, you can do this and you can't do that, you can use these items and you can't, you have logs, you have individual logs from the practice. Okay, all you have to do is ask them what they're, the people, the judges of this, you submit your logs 2 days in advance, or 24 hours in advance. You know, we look at your log, you approve the log, or you don't approve the log. It's not like you didn't run the instance, even if you run it on a lower level. Okay, these judges, you submit the log, you give them the information. They have all the information there. This is where logs great. Okay, but they're Blizzard employees. They have combat log. They should be able to go in there and do that. I don't know where that data is. I don't know how they get it, but logs is the good place to look at this. They then approve your log. And so what happens if there's a discrepancy, or if one of the teams like, well, they use this and this, they were approved. Okay, you're pre-approved for everything you used in here. Okay, that's not hard. That's not hard to do, because really you're only looking for a few things. You're either looking something in the run, okay, like some glitch, something that you're doing. Okay, that's easy to spot. Everybody's going to see that. Oh, he jumped through that wall. Oh, he pulled that group through the wall. That's not supposed to happen. Things like that. Those are bugs. Those are glitches. Those are simple to see. But you know what else is simple to see? A simple consumable used on a log sheet that you click 3 buttons to get to. Problem solved, guys. Problem solved. Why aren't you requiring logs to be certified into a judge that will take 5 minutes to say, yep, it's good? Or you just don't, or these judges just don't care. And if they really don't care, this shouldn't be sanctioned in the first place, and it shouldn't even exist, basically. If you're not going to manage it, and you're not going to do it the correct way, and you're not going to build it up into what it could be for the player base that the people care so much about, okay, and put so much of their time into, then why do it? Why do it half-ass? It makes no sense, okay? And it's not like these judges don't know World of Warcraft. And if they don't, why are they judges for this thing? Why are they overseeing this? You know? And if they are, then half the problem is them not knowing the add-ons that are being used in the game, and why and how to make them. Things like this. And it doesn't take it doesn't take a whole lot of understanding and a lot of experience and a lot of lessons to learn why this is happening. You know, is at the end of the day they don't care because they wouldn't be having it, or, you know, and I understand this is not Blizzard sponsors, but at the same time, do you want to build this up or not? or are you just seeing if it catches fire, and then we're just gonna we'll support it when it makes money? Like, that's okay too, but be honest with it. Say what it is. There's no like halfway here. you know. So what I see as a miscommunication is like I understand that you have to hold your ground, that you told this person that this group can't do it, and you were 5 runs into it, 6 runs into it, and this person did it. But a simple verification of what you guys are going to do and what items are going to do, and a complete list, and that complete list has to match, what you provided us, because there's nothing in the. You're telling me that 5 minutes before you run the dungeon, you're going to tell the judge that we're going to use this. And that's not how that works. You give them 24 hours before to submit the consumables that they're going to use, and anything else. They submit a log of what they think is going to be happening, but exactly on the consumables part of it, so there's just no question. The judge then says and picks out, why are you using this stuff? They just ask questions. They take 20 minutes and say, why are you doing this? Okay, are you using this for a glitch? Are you using this for this? Because that stuff's going to be easy to see. The glitches and stuff and the bugs is fine, but the consumables is simple. That stuff's all going to show. And and the only other part is, well, what if the log was bad and didn't for some reason pick up on a potion that was used all the time? Well, there's potions that are obvious. Okay, there's potions of this level, this expansion, that are going to happen, like a temper potion. You're used to that. And is somebody going to use a scaled down temper potion that was from 2 expansions ago that gives 50 all stats or something like that? Like, no one cares about that. Like, everybody's going to have the potion that gives 1,000 primary stat that's been current in the current the raid and expansion. Everybody's going to do that, so it doesn't make sense. So I don't understand why there's not a process, like a simple process of just submitting all this stuff. And there's only going to be like 8 teams. There's 8 logs. It takes a half hour to go through all this stuff. Have a 5-minute meeting with, okay, I see you're doing this. And the judge doesn't tell everybody what they're doing. Okay. The judge has no, they're supposed to be the mediary. And they're supposed to say, okay, well, it looks good. If you did this run the exact way you did this, and all your people use these consumables that we'll check later, all you do is match them up, reconciliation, and it pops off. And you're like, oh, you didn't do this. Well, and this is here. But then you have the master list of all the things you could use. And then you cite that master list. Okay, well, it's on the master list. I understand why you did it or why you hit it. But it's on the master list. Okay. But in his case, is like, okay, so say something's not on the master list. It's not on the master list. I see you used it here. We can see that, like, you can go back in the video and the stream and look at it. And then you start looking at it like, okay, there's that buff. There's when it was used. It was on the log. You're disqualified. Seems like a great idea to me. Seems like an easy way to do it. Takes an hour, to judge these things. So, and, if the problem is this isn't sanctioned, well, then the people that are unsanctioned need to have some kind of process to go through these things. And I know they do. They have like a little informal, like a little formal menu that kind of says tiebreakers and stuff like that, like any tournament for anything you would have, of like, if there's a tie, this is what goes to this. And that's great to have. But that kind of process needs to go higher and higher on all these things, and needs to be vetted accordingly, So, and you can't, the amount of potions that you're going to use and not use between there, it just doesn't make sense not to have something cut and dry. You're still going to get viewership. People are still going to watch it. So, and they're still not going to know what's coming because they didn't see the initial log because only the judges saw. Like, so it's easy. It'd be easy to watch. It'd be easy to, you're just taking things out like for deduction. That's all. So anyway, that's my whole thing. Dorki didn't do anything wrong because he was misinformed. He was ill-informed, basically. And so if anyone else did this in any other situation, the judges would be ridiculed and should be. So does that change the fact that he should have been DQ'd? No, it doesn't. And that's the unfortunate. It needs to be apologized. He should have been paid anyway because of the judges. Basically, the judges made a wrong ruling. There needs to be compensation for that, for whatever it be. Okay. There also needs to be a process in that if we do something that is that just obviously dumb, you need to pay that dude out. Like, that dude needs something for his time. I don't care what it is. Give him a mount. Give him something, But, or that team, like, and it doesn't have to be much. It's just kind of like, hey, we're bad, Hey, I'm sorry. You do that. Just like if someone was also told at work you can't do that and you didn't know, because the manager didn't tell everybody, that person wouldn't be responsible. It's the same scenario. It doesn't matter, and you can say, oh, well, too bad, how sad, whatever, you can do that. And I understand at the end of the day, it's a video game, but in the context of being competitive and on a competitive level, okay, the referees have to be equally as held accountable as the players and the coaches. Okay, it's the way it is. I mean, you look at any real sport out there. Okay, the coaches get fined, the owners get fined, the players get fined. They all have rules. They all have codes of conduct. Okay. And the fact that this stuff isn't presented like this, and whether it's profitable or not, is not the question at all. Okay. The question is, are we holding this tournament, and are we going to do it to the best of our ability, or are we going to hold this tournament and are we going to let this stuff just be okay because, that's okay. And we're okay with that. And that is not how things should be run. Should not. So again, like this needs to be, like, there needs to be a process behind this. There needs to be controls behind this. And if that can't happen, I don't know how people can in the future take MDI seriously. Basically, this isn't hard. This isn't crazy. This isn't on a level of that's not common sense to everyone, and actually does not take that much work. Okay, in general, to hold a standard that 24 hours before, and even if there's 8 instances. Okay, 8 logs are not going to be rough to go through, especially when you're looking for just overall buffs. It's like, hey, did you find a bug? Did you do this? Talk to them. Feel like okay, and then have a meeting, have a player meeting. This is what we found through all the meetings. You can't do this, can't do that, can't do that. But these are all the things you can use, and everything else looks fine. And point out specifically to specific people what they did and what they didn't do. Okay. It's that simple. Communication is key here. So anyway, Dorki did the right thing. He just admitted to what he did because he knew he did it. Do I think him going back into the other zone? But if it wasn't, if rule number 0 is whatever the judges say at the end of the day is the conclusion that we get to, which I understand why that is that way. Rule 0 has to happen. But the thing is when Rule 0 gets flipped because of miscommunication of something the judge did or didn't do, okay, there needs to be some kind of compensation put out for Dorki and his team to get something. Okay, even if at minimum it is a public apology by the judging staff. Okay, even if it's just an apology. Okay, that is something. Okay, something that we will do something better next time, because what the public got, what the MDI audience got was, we don't care if you do this and you don't, even if the judges make mistakes, we don't care. That's what they hear, and that is not good for competitive WoW. That is not good for any competitive game. That is not good. You imagine a pro sports organization doing that, to where we just don't care. You just lose all credibility of the integrity of the game. Why play the game if it's not going to have integrity behind it? So, and that is where, I come in with my add-on approach to have a steroid add-on. WoW, World of Warcraft, that anything goes, and then you have a standardized UI WoW, World of Warcraft, that is very cut and dry, with limited to one character for a month, to where you just play one class, one character for a month, and you progress as far as you can. Okay, and things are much more balanced. Things, things have a lot less going on, but it's fun. And maybe is the content easier? It's easier by design because there's not as much information going on, but it's not necessarily completable within a certain time frame. And then at the same time you get buffs and nerfs and things like that. So, but I think these two things are mutually exclusive in a lot of ways. Okay. And I think that is a way that we can really enjoy this on a deeper level. And then what we can do is we can watch the race roll first with all the add-ons and all the steroids and watch the big beefy guys go at it. Or we can go over here and watch the guy that put his heart and soul into this one tune for 3 weeks to accomplish this goal with another 30 people or 20 to 30 people, and see if they can do it. Because not only did they, but they planned it out from the beginning. Okay, and they brought what they could. Okay, not what they were willing to do necessarily. Like, they weren't willing to bring 5 characters per account. They would bring 1 character per account and 1 person behind it. You bring ultimate integrity back to the game, and you will bring a whole mess of things with it. Okay, you will, and they're positives and negatives, but I think the positives in this case outweigh the negatives by a lot. I think it does, and then while still offering the old school WoW to be able to do whatever add-on you want. But I think consolidating old WoW into this new uniform, I don't think it works. The the bubble hasn't burst. It was burst 15 years ago. And the reason why it wasn't taken care of, if it was taken care of, it should have been taken care of in either MoP or right after MoP. Okay. It should have. And it would have been a good time to get a whole new player base. You could have went through 5 expansions, 4 or 5 expansions in that time. You would have had plenty of time to make this uniform. And then today's WoW would be uniform. It would be something very much what it isn't today, basically. So we're still doing the same thing we did 15 years ago. And a lot of people wanted to see that change. A lot of people did. So, and to some degree, it's okay to have it this way. And that's why I'm proposing that we do a schism of the steroids and the non-steroids. Because at this point you've kicked the can down for 15 years. That the rest of it does, like, what's another 15 years doing the same thing as steroids over here? Like, why go back, kind of thing. Now, obviously, we don't necessarily have to worry about physicality here. So in human beings and things like that. So we don't have like that conversation going on because we're all in the digital world here. But if that was the case, like, what kind of players are going to get, and then you also have like add-on WoW. You still have the same system. You don't necessarily even have to collaborate with these add-on guys. You don't have to collaborate with them. You don't even have to hire them if you don't want to, because they're going to continue doing the same thing they've always been doing, and people are still going to be playing this hyped up WoW, steroid WoW, to where anything goes when it comes to add-ons for the most part. And so we don't have to worry about macros and worry about that. And then you have this other portion that is just that is just the integrity of the game, of what it is, what it should be. One account, one player for a month, clear the content, and after that month, you open it up to other characters, other things like that. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. Dorki needs judges at MDI. If you hear this, apologize to him. Apologize to that team. Okay. Do the right thing. If you don't pay him out, if you don't do anything like that, just apologize. It's necessary for the integrity of the judges of MDI, in my opinion. It'll look really good if you did it. If you don't care, if you don't hear this, basically, just know that it would mean something to them. I think it would mean something to the MDI community and the people that watch the competitive nature and actually want integrity in this game. Anyway, if you like the content, definitely subscribe, follow the channel. Definitely Skunkworks Inc.